bridges to rise, bridges to
Welcome to Reflections. I'm your host, Patrick Tomlinson, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming Sergeant Diana Gocool, who is a recruiter with the New York State Air National Guard. Uh, Diana Gocool holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in dietetics, food and nutrition from Lehman College, and she also holds an associate degree in applied sciences in production management. Diana is currently a recruiter with the, as I said, 106th Wing Rescue Wing in West Hampton Beach, New York, and she has consented to come and tell us a little bit about herself and what the Air National Guard does and what she does with the Air National Guard. Welcome, Diana.
Hi, good morning, Patrick. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Um, so, Diana, there's quite a lot here that you have achieved in your young life, and I wanted to start by asking you, tell us a little bit about, your early years, where you're born, your experiences in growing up, and where you went to school. So let's start with where you're born.
Well, I was born in Virginia. My dad was actually in the Navy, so we were
Right.
stationed there. And so I was born in Virginia, but I'm originally from New York. So moved back home, grew up in the Bronx, actually.
Hmm.
And I went to high school in the city in Manhattan. My family's also in Manhattan as well. So growing up, going to school in Manhattan, living in the Bronx, it was a commute every day. But yeah, that's what I
Right.
did.
Okay. What schools did you attend?
So for high school, I went to St. Jean the Baptist in the Upper East Side. And then for college, I went to, well, like you said, Lehman College. I got my degree there in the Bronx.
Okay, okay. So at high school, did you enjoy any particular sports or subjects that you could say probably guided you to the career that you have today?
Absolutely. So in elementary school, I was very involved in sports. I played basketball. And then when I went to high school, I also played a little bit of basketball. But I was more interested in like studying and just extracurricular activities. So, and then also seeing my dad, he was in the military still at the time. And just hearing about the things he was doing really excited me. I know from an early age, I wanted to do something different, travel. I just didn't know what at the time.
Okay. Um, so for the viewing public, I just wanted to say that I had the pleasure of interviewing Diana's dad last week, and he is also of a military background. But he shared a story with me, Diana, that he had to do a little bit of convincing to have you think about the military. Can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So my parents were divorced, still
Yeah.
divorced. So growing up, it was just, my mom with her two kids at the time. Now there's six of us all together. But I was the only one in my mom's side of the family. They're from Ecuador. So no one else is in the military. So I'm the first generation living, was born in the United States. So they
Hmm.
knew my dad was in the military and they just thought, wow, we don't want her to travel, active duty, you're really away from home. You don't really get to be close to home. So they assumed that it was going to be the same situation and also what they see on TV. So they think, wow, I don't want you to be in those areas that are dangerous. So my mom, my family, my grandma holds, it's like a second mom to me. So they were kind of against me joining, although they saw my dad was in the military, they still didn't want me to join. So my dad just had to like talk to me about it because he then switched to the Air National Guard, and I got to see him more. So he was just telling me the benefits, what's out there, and I could still be close to home. But yeah, so he did have to convince me in the beginning too, especially fear of not knowing what I was going to experience. So
Okay. Um, so I wanted to. also try to see if we could speak a little bit more to um, young high school age uh, students, especially females who might be considering this, but growing up with a normal, growing up issues, how would you how would you describe how you personally navigated growing up and staying focused, staying directed, and focusing on what you really wanted to do?
Well, in high school, it was a little challenging for me because academics did not come easily. I'm the type of person that really needs to study for something. And at first, I didn't understand it because I had an older sister. She was a straight A student. She could, be in school and get everything easy. For me, I had to put in the extra work. So when I started believing in myself and I had help from my guidance counselor at school and also from my dad, he was telling me like, hey, you have to believe that you could do it. And I just didn't believe in myself at that time. So I started really working hard for myself because it felt good to actually be able to do stuff and pass and get straight A's. So eventually I became a better student. And then also to mentioning the military to my guidance counselor, they were against that. I went to a Catholic school, so my Catholic school just assumed that wanted us students to just go to college. So when I mentioned that I did want to go to college, but I also want to be in the military, they were completely, not about that. They were against that. So I
Hmm.
had to find other outlets to get information because my school was not going to help me with that. And in my high school, I never saw a military recruiter. And I know some high schools they have that, but my high school, I never saw a military recruiter. So I did my research, and luckily I had my father to help me. But if I didn't, it would just really be doing my own research too, looking for an online for a recruiter or just searching at the time like what more about the military, especially about the Air National Guard, which you don't really hear about that. So that was my experience with schooling and kind of getting through high school years.
Hmm. Were you a member of any special clubs, or did you do any extracurricular activities that you wanted to share
Yeah,
with us?
so early on I did basketball, but then later on I got into cooking a lot. I was in like the food science club at my high school. So we just did like new dishes. And so like later on, as you see in as you mentioned in my degree is dietetics, food and nutrition. So it was something that I was still very passionate about, and it started from high school. Since they just made a club all of a sudden, I just joined it and I found it super interesting. We were cooking different meals that I wasn't really used to because, again, I grew up in a very Spanish household, Ecuadorian. So it was very traditional foods. So it was nice to learn something different cuisine. And being from New York too, we were around diverse cuisine. So I wanted to learn how to cook different dishes.
Okay, okay. Um, but your dad did share with me that at one point during your early years, you really wanted to go into um, I think it's the beauty area, the area of
I did.
yeah,
I forgot about that one.
right.
I did, yes. I'm still very much into hairstyling, cosmetology. That was my second career. So it was my other hobby I had. So when I graduated high school, I was still um I was waiting to go to, I'll kind of explain that later, but I was waiting to go to basic training. In the meantime, I was really into beauty, hair, and makeup. So I took some courses and I was really convinced like I wanted to have my own hair salon. I wanted to do with no business experience. I just wanted to do that. But yeah, that was just a side hobby. That's all.
Okay, 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 okay. So is this something that you still practice?
Just for like close friends and
Close friends.
family, I do their hair and
Okay,
makeup, but I never went to cosmetology school. I just took like a,
okay.
certification course. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, some people are naturally talented. Some people have a gift for that sort of thing, even without going to college or acquiring formal education.
right. For me, it was just a hobby. It's not something now I know it's not something I would want to do every day. And for some people, that's great. It's just not my hobby. I mean, not my, what I would be into.
Okay. So you did apply for college while in high school and the National Guard?
Yes. So I knew I wanted to go to college. I just didn't know what I wanted to study. I was interested in doing hair and makeup and also food. So I was all over the place. I was that student that, well, I liked a lot of things and I couldn't narrow down my decision. But one thing I really was interested is when in the Air National Guard. So hearing my dad talk about it a lot, and we eventually went to go see a recruiter. And the recruiter just gave me everything I needed to know about, what's the possibilities of joining and, what I'm going to get out of it. So it just felt like it was right for me at the moment. And definitely, it definitely was.
Okay. So did you do your training concurrently with going to Lehman College, or you completed your academic training or your academic work before going into the Air National Guard?
Yeah, so I joined while I was a senior in high school. So you could join while you're 17. So I joined. I had to get a letter from my guidance counselor saying that I was graduating, and so I got that done. I passed to join the military. So I had to wait till I graduate, and
Where
then
did
I had
you
to wait for
take this
boot.
exam? Sorry, where was the exam given?
And well, I actually took the exam in Albany, upstate New York, because
Oh,
of
so
the
you had to
base I
travel
joined.
upstate to do the exam.
Yes, and the
Okay,
recruiter drove me, so
okay,
I was able to, have a ride. So I was in the military and a high school senior. Also had to wait for training dates, which does not come that quickly. So in the meantime, I had already graduated. I was, I was working until I got my boot camp date. So then I eventually went to boot camp, returned, fully trained, and then I became a full-time college student at Lehman College. And then I was working part-time in the Air National Guard.
okay. So did the military give you time off to go to school full time? How does that work?
Yeah, so the Air National Guard is a reserve component. So what that means is this is considered part-time. I was required to only attend my military requirement one weekend, once a month. So just Saturday and Sunday, once a month. So I was full-time college student, a full-time civilian during Monday through Friday until I was needed to go to my drill weekend. So drill is what the term we use to when we attend our weekends in the military, our reserve weekends. So one weekend, Saturday and Sunday, once a month. So they didn't need to give me time off because my
Okay.
college was Monday through Friday.
Right, right. So you had to be juggling almost two careers at one time at such a young age.
Right, and, it didn't feel that much since it's a reserve component of, the Air Force, so, um, I didn't feel it's like this was hard work at all in the beginning, because again, I was my career full-time was it was college. We also had to do 15 days of annual training, so usually when I was done with my semester, I would do 15 days of annual training on the base, and I would just do my job, prepare, keeping up with training, and that's what you do essentially.
Okay. Did you find any particular challenges in doing that?
Well, drill weekends, no. It was at first it was just a little challenging because, I was 18 at that time then when I finally came back from training, meeting all these people. I've never really been out of the Bronx. I traveled with my family, but this is the first time I'm working in a professional setting with other military members of different ages and different backgrounds. So I had to learn new professional skills as an 18-year-old, which was amazing. But at the time, I was little nervous of what I was gonna expect. So just learning new skills was something I was able to do. So it was challenging, but then I moved forward and gained all this like knowledge of being able to work in a different environment, under pressure sometimes. So it wasn't much challenge, since I was able to learn new skills.
Okay. Did you develop any close friendships? I'm sure you did, and so it became a little bit, I don't know, perhaps challenging to break those friendships or to have those friendships modified, if they were, by going away by undertaking a new career, taking on new directions in your life? Was did you? I'm sure young people um, really do experience that kind of thing. So I was just wondering, what would you say to them? What experiences could you share in addressing some of those things?
Well, I joined in the base. My first base was Newburgh, which is upstate New York, and I joined in 2007. I I made so much friends from that location. We had and different ages too. We had young individuals that like me at the time was 18
I'm talking
and
before
joined the
you
same.
went to before. I'm talking before you went into the military, like friends around your community, family, friends, social friends. Now you're breaking away and going into a different life. Was that a little bit difficult or challenging for a young lady?
Not at
Oh,
all. Not at
okay,
all. Yeah, see, because the Air National Guard, I was stationed in Newburgh. I chose my base,
okay,
and that's the base I'm going to work in. It's not like active duty Air Force where you get stationed and live somewhere else and work somewhere else. I just went away for training for at that time was probably 3 months. I went away for training.
okay,
So after I was done with training, I came back home, and my training was in Texas and California. So when I came back home, I was still around my friends and family. So no, I didn't miss them, and we didn't miss each
okay,
other. I mean,
okay.
we missed them for the short amount of time, but that's it.
Okay, so you were able to sort of maneuver and still maintain those traditional relationships.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, okay. And was it any at all challenging in terms of your academics? Well, you said it's once per month, but
Right.
sometimes you might need a weekend to study. I'm just saying, how would you speak to a young person who's thinking about those things and wanting to find out how would I navigate both things? Am I capable of, you know, embarking on this career at the same time, um, going to school full time?
I was, well, again, since this wasn't taking much of my time at the
Yeah,
time, it wasn't strenuous on my education or my full-time, social life either.
right,
The only time, like if I had something important really going on that weekend of that I had to attend military duty, I would have to just let my supervisor know, and they sometimes they would excuse me from my work weekend, and I would have to just make up the weekend at a later time. So I was very Air National Guard is really about, they support education. They paid for my college. So Lehman College was completely free to me. They paid 100% of my college tuition. So they're all about education, the Air National Guard. So if I had something important going on with school, most of the time I would be excused from military duty to just make up that work at a later time.
okay,
So yeah.
okay. During college, was there any particular courses that you enjoyed? I know you chose dietetics. Was there any particular course or any particular experience you would like to share?
So yeah, so my major was dietetics, food and nutrition, since I was always into like the food. And when going into it, I thought it was going to be easy, but food dietetics is the science behind how we process food. It's a lot into it. So being in the military, I felt that kind of worked with me because in the military we have to stay fit. We have to pass the annual fitness test. Basic military training, we were working out all the time. So coming back from training and going to college, it was perfect for me. Maintaining my fitness levels and knowing what foods to eat to nourish my body. So that was something that, that was my passion at the time. So I really enjoyed that. And Lehman College is big on dietetics for that.
Okay. Um, any particular courses that you enjoyed, specific courses or any particular program you went on while in college?
Particular program, I can't think of that right now. The
Mm,
only course I could like really that stands out to me was the science, and I know it's different from what I do now, but like
right,
biochemistry, microbiology, and then nutrition counseling. So
right,
as being a recruiter, I get to talk to people, counsel people in their careers in the military. Nutrition counseling was, you're still working with somebody, talking to somebody. So it's always something I always like to help people. I've
right.
been in. I always want people to like work together and, we learn from each other. So being in this field, I get to do that. So that's why I love recruiting so much.
Okay.
So that's,
Okay. Okay. So, you for the post high school for the next 4 years, you're back and forth in the military, but pursuing your education at Lehman College.
yes.
So upon gaining your degree, then you went full time. Tell us a little bit about that. You went full time into
Yes.
the military.
Right. So when while in college, so I signed a 6-year contract for the Air National Guard. So I
Hmm.
did 4 years in college, got my degree paid for. I was working part-time as a nutritionist for actually a dietitian. I was a volunteer in the South Bronx in one of the
Right.
clinics there, working for a nutritionist, and I was still in the military. And then I was working for another individual. She was a chef, and I was helping her with the nutrition counseling.
Hmm.
So then they offered me a job full time on base, and I decided to take it. Although at the time I was still into nutrition, I thought that was going to be the career I was going to take. But it just felt right for me at the time to take this full time position on base. This was not recruiter yet, but it was just managing the administration office for the vehicle maintenance shop. So over all the military vehicles, I had to manage all that paperwork, budgeting, all that. It just sounded very interesting, and I just
Right.
wanted to this was the job that I was going to take until I find the career I wanted in nutrition. That's what I
Okay.
thought. So
Okay.
then I did that for a bit. The base opened Air National Guard recruiting office in the Bronx, and someone mentioned like I think you would be a good fit for you if you work in the Bronx. One of my supervisors as a recruiter's assistant. So that's how I led into recruiting. Someone just mentioned it to me, and I was like, I'll look into that. And the recruiting office in the Bronx was very close to my house. So again, this is going to be the job that I was going to do until I find my nutrition job.
Okay.
So then I did that for a bit. I was going to high school events, college events, career fairs, all in the Bronx and Manhattan, and I just really enjoyed it. Because I love the Air National Guard, what it has done for me. I did a lot of traveling for within the Air National Guard, so I was able to get to speak to people similar in my situation. So eventually, a position opened up in West Hampton Beach in Long Island for a recruiter position. And the mission here sounded super interesting, search and rescue. And I applied for it and I got the position. So this is what landed me in Long Island. I actually transferred from one base to this base. And I was still living in the Bronx at the time. And then I moved out to Long Island.
Okay.
So here I am now.
I see you did a lot of volunteer work, Diana. You distributed toys. You were a fundraiser, and you were also a Zumba fitness instructor. Okay.
Yes.
So you tell us a little bit about that because that's very interesting.
Well, I was into fitness. I've always been into fitness, and I love dancing. I actually, me and my husband, we go to salsa classes all the time now. But before
Right.
that, I used to be into Zumba, and I volunteered. So Shape Up New York City, it's part of like the free classes that New York City has. Currently, they still have that. So they were offering training for people. So I was already a Zumba instructor. I just do a little Zumba classes on the side with my friends, and some of them used to pay me. So then I did it for a few weeks with Shape Up New York City. But with the full time job, it was just hard to juggle going to the city all the way upstate. So I had to slow something down. So it was the Zumba instructor one. So I'm no longer a Zumba instructor anymore.
Okay. And you did a bit of fundraising too.
Yes.
And
So for the run, I fundraised some money for children. So I participated in a 10-mile run for the I think it was the Bronx at the time. Yeah, Bronx 10 miles run, and they were asking for donations, so I got a bunch of my friends to donate, and yeah, it was pretty great. And also for Long Island, Pronto is an organization in Long Island that helps the underprivileged community. So every year they do a Toys for Tots. I was able to get military members here on base to donate, whatever they can for the for that Pronto organization.
Okay. Okay. Splendid. So you're a pretty well-rounded person. So, people probably believe that sometimes you go into certain institutions like the military, you become very straight-laced and, there's no flexibility or, your visions become more narrow, but you are demonstrating that you have a wide latitude in your involvement in the community and in interacting with others. Um, so we have maybe about 2 or 3 minutes left, Dan. I don't know if you want to take a bit of that time in wrapping up, and we thank you for letting us know who Diana Gocool is, how she grew up. So, any closing thoughts on um, Diana Gocool and her time in the military? I know next segment we will move in and speak more about the Air National Guard, but as it relates to Diana and anybody who has a similar background, what would you want to tell them, or what would you want to share in those moments, closing moments?
Um, yeah, so what I would like to share for any individual or young individuals as well is that when it comes to something that may be challenging or maybe you may have some type of fear to join, to do something, or sometimes the challenging positions are the ones that really have a lot to offer. So I was scared to join at first. However, I moved forward that challenging. I got comfortable with being uncomfortable and learning through the fear. So joining the military, it just built for me, it was just building me stronger as a person. And going through these challenging experiences just makes you stronger as a person. So I would say, don't be afraid, and if you are afraid, just go for it. Ask for advice, seek help, seek assistance if you want to get into a new field. And sometimes it's okay, it's good to be uncomfortable with the well, it's good to get comfortable with the uncomfortable sometimes. So that's all.
Okay. Do you have a pledge, or is there a motto that guides your outfit?
My outfit, well, my motto today as a recruiter, my motto is that others may live, since I am in the search and rescue mission, so that others may live.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sergeant Diana Gokul, for appearing, and we look forward to the next segment where you'll tell us more about the Air National Guard that you are a part of and you're a recruiter. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Sergeant Gokul.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Reaches to rise, reaches to rise.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
But you gotta keep
You
going.
just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a course online.
You can do this.
You will find something.
We'll find something new.
If you love them enough to do this, surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.